Thank you, Kate, for asking me to sum up today. I'm speaking both from a developer's perspective, but also a social planning perspective. And I think I got probably 2 key takes and 1 new thing to raise for today. The first key take was that, and I had to remind myself, because we constantly forget that diverse groups are quite diverse amongst themselves. And I learnt that when I first started working as a town planner 20 years ago, when a group of older people came and said, just because we're all old doesn't mean we all like each other. So I think we do have to remember, and Nazar certainly made us aware that creating new identities or identity is not linked to place or the group that you come from. You are quite different. And the fact that new developments bring in diverse communities from a range of areas, so even though they've come from 10 kilometres radius of the community, or even though they're the same ethnic group or the same age or life cycle group, they are quite different, and with that they bring different traditions and cultures to create their place. And that's something that we need to remember, is that they are creating their place no matter how much we design and develop and things for them. It's their place, it's their heritage and traditions that they're creating. So, and then with the next generation, because a lot of our developments, we do see 2 or 3 generations in the time that we're there, they create a whole new take on that. And so that's something that we have to be flexible in our designs with. Nancy, I think you were quoting Nazar, but I love that that no one will hear the message until there are people in the street. The other key theme I've got from today is engage, 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 and it's lovely to see Hugo and Fiona being engaging designers. It's not very common and it's delightful, so do keep pushing that in briefs, because I certainly put it in, so it's good to see that you're pushing it as well. The fact that engagement has been reflected in and diversity reflected through art and landscape is fantastic. The use of public spaces is so much more valued and looked after by communities that have been engaged. And the fact that you address social issues both through engaging with the people who are going to be end users, but also the prisoners who are developing the work and the young kids who are socially isolated because of disabilities and things. I think that's fantastic too, because it's having those multiple outcomes for one common good. Creating social spaces with experience is a very key theme of mine, that I think that we don't have enough of spaces that enable encounters. And I think the fact that, as you said, Ruth, about we're all participants in encounters is fantastic. I think we forget the fact that a simple encounter can make a life-changing experience. And I will share a fleeting encounter with a stranger that I had 17 years ago when I moved to Sydney. I was up to my underarms in toilet training and nappies with, at the time, 2, soon to be 4 small children. And I was whinging away to some stranger in the park about how I'm sick of cleaning floors and beds and everything, thinking, oh, well, I'll never see her again. And as it turned out, as I helped this little girl off her fence that she'd fallen off, this stranger was my neighbour, and that stranger is still one of my best friends 17 years later. So beware the fleeting encounter, because they can lead to long-term relationships. The importance of those common spaces and how we design and plan for them is key. And I think the activation of those spaces, one thing that we do forget as designers and developers is the importance of ensuring that they're activated. So we can go a long way to engage with people to inform the design. We can go a long way to engage with people to make sure that it works for all the different diverse groups using it. But one thing that we often forget, and it's key to success of common places, is that activation and the community governance associated with it. And Hugo touched on that in terms of the cooperatives that he's worked with. But my experience is where the community have, and I was talking with Urban Growth about this as well, that where we have a community governance structure in place of a common place, it's a lot more successful. It also allows for that changeover in groups that take over the communities as the communities grow and merge. And so that's something we've always got to remember, that what is going to be the ultimate governance of those public spaces to ensure that they remain active and safe and well used and relevant to the communities that are coming in. Thank you.